Good morning. Today we will discuss classification of igneous rocks. The topic classification of igneous rock is very important because there are hundreds of igneous rocks, and for systematic study classification is a must. As you all know that a rock is named on the basis of texture and mineral composition. The two requirements for nomenclature are the texture and the mineral composition. If there is a change in any, for example, granite and rhyolite, mineralogically they have same composition, but texturally they are different. Granite is coarse grained, rhyolite is fine grained. Similarly, your granite and granodiorite, granite has mineral composition as quartz and orthoclase as essential mineral, whereas granodiorite has quartz and plagioclase as essential mineral, but texturally they are same. So what I mean to say is that first of all it should be very clear that a rock is named on the basis of texture and mineral composition. The basis of classification of igneous rocks, there are a number of bases on which we can classify igneous rocks. The common basis of classification of igneous rocks is first on the basis of their geological occurrence, or you can say mode of occurrence. Then it can be texture. Then it can be mineral composition. And fourth, that is your chemical composition. So rocks can be classified on the basis of these 4-5 parameters, and then there are classifications given by different authors, commissions, which have incorporated or which have taken into account different bases together, and they have marked different fields of different rocks in their different diagrams. So from the simplest point of view, first of all we will take classification of igneous rock on the basis of mode of occurrence. Right? Mode of occurrence means where they are found geologically. On that, broadly you all know igneous rocks are formed by the cooling and crystallization of magma or lava. Right? So the rocks are formed either on the surface or below the surface. The rocks that are formed on the surface, they are called extrusive igneous rocks. Whereas the rocks which are formed below the surface, they are called intrusive rocks. And then intrusive rocks further we can divide into two categories, that is your hypabasal and plutonic. So overall speaking, we can classify on the basis of mode of occurrence igneous rocks into three categories broadly, that is volcanic, hypabasal and plutonic. Right? Hypabasal and plutonic together, they are intrusive igneous rocks, whereas volcanic rocks, they are extrusive igneous rocks. Means these extrusive or these volcanic rocks, they are formed on the surface or up to a depth of 1 kilometer. So the character of their texture is that either they are fine grained or they are non-crystalline or glassy. Example of volcanic rocks, you all know that there are rhyolite, basalt, then you can include that your glasses, that is your pitch stone, obsidian. So such category of rocks, they are called volcanic rocks. Plutonic rocks, because they are formed at deep-seated conditions where slow cooling and crystallization takes place, hence they have large grain size, either coarse grained or medium grained. So these rocks, plutonic, they are deep-seated rocks and they have their large, or you can say, grain size. Whereas hypabasal rocks, they are also intrusive igneous rocks, but they have at least two sites of crystallization. The first where the large crystals had grown. Later on these crystals along with the liquid, they are uplifted. The liquid at higher horizons crystallizes smaller grains. So overall that rock has a porphyritic texture. Means grains are at least of two sizes. The large one, they are called phenocryst, and in smaller ones or in glassy material in which they are embedded is known as the ground mass. So these hypabasal rocks have porphyritic texture in general, and the common rocks in this category are your dolerite, even lamprophires, and we can prefix the word porphyritic before name of any plutonic or volcanic rock. That also indicates the hypobasal equivalent of that plutonic or volcanic rock. So this first basis, that is on the basis of mode of occurrence, where they are found in the earth or on the surface, these rocks are classified into three categories. The second basis is on the basis of texture. The texture is simply the size, shape and arrangement of mineral constituents and glassy matter in a rock, right? So once we say size means if we can identify a rock by our naked eyes, that we call as a phanerocrystalline, and in short as phaneric, or the rocks as such phanerites. Phanerites are those rocks whose grain size can be noticed with naked eye without aid of any instrument, that is microscope or X-ray, etc. So phanerite rocks can further be divided into, on the basis of the grain size, into three categories, that is coarse, medium and fine. Coarse grained are those whose grain size diameter is more than 5 millimeter. Mind it, it is more than 5 millimeter. The upper limit is not defined. The ratio of crystal or the grain sizes in igneous rock is 1:1000. The grains are so large that you cannot take in your arms, and grains are so small even you miss under microscope their crystalline state. So we say phanerites to those rocks which have their grain size which can be visualized by our naked eyes. And then they again have three categories: coarse, medium and fine. Coarse are those whose grain size diameter is more than 5 millimeter, medium grained where the diameter is 1 to 5 millimeter, and fine grained they are less than 1 millimeter. Right. The second category is aphanites. Aphanites means a rock has size that cannot be seen with your naked eyes but can be observed or can be visualized under microscope. So definitely they have their grain size less than 1 millimeter, and those extreme smaller ones they can seen be only under the microscope. So for such the term aphanites is used texturally. And the third categories of the glasses means rocks having zero grain size, or in other words they are non-crystalline, they are glassy, they are amorphous. So such rocks naturally are found on the surface. They have formed under rapid cooling conditions, and in that way they come under the category of the your volcanic rocks. Example, your obsidian, pitch stones, they are glassy, they are non-crystalline. So on the basis of textures, the igneous rocks can be classified into three categories: phanerites, aphanites and glasses. Phanerites can further be categorized into three categories: coarse, medium, fine, just I told you, and then aphanites in the glasses. So this texture, because what we know in geology that present is key to the past. What signatures are in the rocks that indicates that, for example, a rock is having coarse grain, it means that rock has crystallized slowly, under slow cooling condition that rock has formed. To date we observe only the size, and on that basis we interpret the past is cooling history. So what we say, the present is key to the past. Present is key to the past means that today what we observe in the field, from that we interpret what were the, you can say, the cooling conditions of the magma. So the texture basically is a signature in the rock which indicate the cooling history of the rock, and on that basis the rocks are classified, just I told you, into three categories: phanerites, aphanites and the glasses. The next basis is the mineralogical classification. Mineralogical classification, just I told in the beginning that a rock is named on the basis of texture and mineral composition. So the importance of the mineral composition, naturally it has an impact, or it has an you can say in the nomenclature, important role in the nomenclature of the rocks. So what percent of different minerals, here we take on the basis of percent of the dark minerals, that we call as the color index. So mineralogical classification is on the basis of percent of dark minerals, or in other words you can say your ferromagnesian minerals, and they are known as the the indicator of the color index. So we divide all igneous rocks into 4 categories: leucocratic, mesocratic, melanocratic and hypermelanic. Mesocratic are those in which your dark minerals, means Fe, Mg or ferromagnesian minerals, they are from 0 to 30%. So if a rock is containing up to 30% mafic minerals, is in the category of leucocratic, and the common example is your granite, granodiorite and their volcanic equivalents, rhyolite, dacite, like such rocks. Because leuco means light colored, that rock naturally percent of dark minerals is less, so naturally in color it will be lighter. Second is your mesocratic, in which the dark minerals are from 30 to 60%. These rocks, the common example, your diorite, then your, if your mafic mineral is more than 5, which is not the essential mineral but is more than 5%, this name is prefixed before the name of the rocks, so such varieties of rocks are formed. So these are in the mesocratic. The third category is the melanocratic, in which your mafic minerals or your dark minerals are from 60 to 90%. Now 60 to 90%, your common rocks, your gabbro, next called basalt, dolerite, the essexite, these rocks are melanocratic, in which that your dark minerals are from 60 to 90%. And the fourth category is hypermelanic, means rocks having more than 90% mafic minerals or dark minerals, they are called hypermelanic. And the common mafic or ultramafic rocks, all ultramafic rocks are in this category, and that you can see your pedotite, your dunite, pyroxenite, cometite, these rocks naturally are example of your hypermelanic category. They have more than 90% your mafic minerals. Now next basis is on the basis of your chemical composition. You all know that